Often we have seen that when we build some automation product or something is automated, it is not accepted by the end user, and the project actually fails. It may be a very good project, it may be adding from the management point of view, it may be adding a value, but if it is not accepted, if it is not used by the end user, that project fails. So before doing any automation, the process needs to be studied very well.
Hello and welcome back to FaceTime with Leaders, the signature podcast series by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. I'm your host, Sunny Pancholi, and today we are joined by a powerhouse in banking transformation, someone whose legacy spans over 2 decades of shaping, scaling, and securing the core systems that keep some of India's largest banks moving. Mr. Sanjay Kumar Mukherjee, it's a real honor to have you with us today.
Good morning and thank you. Thanks for calling me in.
To our audience, when we talk about leadership in digital banking, Mr. Mukherjee is in a league of his own. From leading end-to-end migrations at Axis and Bandhan Bank, managing over 150 enterprise-level applications, to heading cross-functional IT teams of over 200 professionals, his footprints is across some of the most mission-critical banking systems in the country. And what stands out beyond the scale is the foresight. Be it automation, compliance governance, or strategic vendor collaboration, Mr. Mukherjee hasn't just adapted with the times, he has often been ahead of them. So, Mr. Mukherjee, could you walk us through your journey, the early beginnings, the moments that shaped your path, and what it felt like building a career through such a dynamic and evolving space?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So I started my journey from Bank of Punjab in 1995, where I joined as a technical trainee. We were called as system trainee. There we had an exhaustive training on implementation of the core banking system called Banks 2000, which is presently known as Finacle. So it was a branch banking system, not a core banking system. We learned how to implement it. And the bigger challenge that we went through is at that time, Bank of Punjab was one of the few banks that were coming up by the RBI. So when these banks were coming up, there was hardly any branches of Bank of Punjab. So we were constantly moving as the branches were coming in. We had to install the branches, we have to install the software, train the people, and go ahead. Soon, after 3 years experience there, I moved to UTI Bank, presently known as Axis Bank. In Axis Bank, I had a stint of almost 26 years, where I had gone through a huge amount of self-transformation also. For example, in 2000, Axis Bank, UTI Bank was earlier in branch banking system, and it decided to move all its 50 branches to core banking system. So I was lucky enough to be selected there. And once selected, we went through a training period, and it was a 1 year exercise on it. We never knew the next day where we will be. It was in sleepless nights, and the network was, as you can understand, the network was not at all matured. At that time, the network was so poor. The network player was only MTNL and VSNL, and getting things done through them was an Herculean task. Then the people in the branches, they were not so familiar with the computers. They were mainly manual bankers who were familiar with the manual banking system. To train them, teach them, get them involved was again a challenge. So that taught me a lot. So after the centralization of the core banking system happens, the government of India also started bringing in a lot of new challenges. For example, the first project of government of India, CBDT, was ULTAS. That ULTAS project taught me a lot. We were working with RBI, the CBDT, and as you know, the ULTAS project has changed how the taxation payment is done today. So as we went ahead, there were various other projects of Government of India and the NPCI, the check truncation system, the NEFT, the RTGS, the UPI, and all this has brought in a lot of changes.
Mr. Mukherjee, what an incredible journey you had. It's fascinating how every chapter seems to have built naturally into the next. That kind of clarity and progression is inspiring.
Thank you. Thanks.
So, listening to your journey, the way it's evolved across institutions, technologies, and roles, it's genuinely impressive, Mr. Mukherjee. And it makes me wonder, not many get to live through the era of legacy banking and help shape what it's becoming today. So, if you think back, what's been that one transformation you have led that felt especially very meaningful? The kind that stayed with you, not just for its scale, but for the impact it left behind.
So it's not one but two transformations that I did has left a major change in me. The first one was in 2010 when we moved from Finacle 7 to Finacle 10. This transformation at that time, the bank was of a fairly large size, and there were a lot of features in the bank. So transforming all these features was a big challenge. Training almost 6,000 to 7,000 people were a big challenge. And once we have done that, once we have transformed, stabilizing the system was a very big challenge. It taught me to be very, very patient. It taught me to look to the system from the end user's point of view, the customer's point of view, because I remember the bank had a major challenge responding to customer queries because the systems, making the system stable was a very big challenge. And then there were regulatory and compliance issues, and we had to painfully go through each of these points with different departments, with different regulators, and get them closed. So this is one project which has matured me a lot. Then the second project that we did recently is the Bandhan Bank migration. In the Bandhan Bank migration, we till now the Bandhan Bank was totally dependent on one vendor, and all its system was vendor driven. And in this migration, we had a major change from vendor dependent to bank dependent. So it was not only the transformation of the system, it was the transformation of the processes also. uh, each department within the IT has to be groomed, matured, so that once the systems are transferred inside, they will be able to handle it. They will be able to mature enough so that it can be taken forward. So it was something like rebuilding the IT team altogether from scratch. So these two projects are there, which has left an impact on me.
That's so powerful, Mr. Mukherjee. And that really hits. You don't just lead change, you carry it with intention.
Thanks for that. Yeah.
So, Mr. Mukherjee, hearing you speak about leading transformation with such clarity, it really brings to mind the sheer scale behind something like a core banking migration. And for those of us on the outside, it often sounds like just a tech upgrade, but I'm sure it's anything but that. When you look back, what are some of those high stakes behind the scenes realities of CBS migrations that people often don't see or don't fully appreciate?
See, all that tech upgrades comes with a huge amount of planning and management. As I have said in 2000, the network is a big issue. So to have a stable network, we had to personally go and coordinate with the MTNL guys, not only with the GMs and DGMs there, but with the linesmans there. You will remember that at that time, the linesman had a major role to ensure that the network is stable. Similarly, in present days, when we did the last migration, ensuring to the team to be together. See, understand that when we are migrating, it's a team, it's a total teamwork. People are staying there for a longer time. There are a lot of hurdles. People are not able to sleep for 2 to 3 days. So you have to manage them. Sometimes there will be an interpersonal issues. So managing the interpersonal issues becomes a very big challenge. You have to be transparent, you have to be unbiased, and you have to handle them and see that the issues are resolved. Secondly, sometimes the people working at the grassroots feel that their voices are not being heard by the top management. So we have to do that. We have to ensure that their voices are heard. We also have to sometimes ensure that a top management comes and meet them so that they get motivated. Once a project is over, a simple dinner or a simple handshake with the top management is a very big motivation for the young generation to go ahead. So these are few of the things we have learned a lot. Secondly, one more thing that is very important is compliance. And in today's world, compliance, keeping the regulators standard is very, very important. Everything needs to be well documented. All these documented need to be verified. You have to see that all the documents that are maintained are in a standard as defined by the regulators and the compliance. So this is, and sometimes the documents are of huge size. Though they may be in electronic format, this needs to be kept safe. It has to be signed and ensure that they are not tampered. So these are the few things that we have learned as we go ahead.
Absolutely, Mr. Mukherjee. And it's humbling to hear what really goes into making these shifts happen. Thank you for pulling back the curtain a bit.
Thank you. I couldn't get it.
So, Mr. Mukherjee, what you just shared really shows the layer of thought and coordination that go into transformation. And it reminds me, long before automation became a buzzword, you were already building that muscle into banking operations. So I'm curious to know, from someone who has led it hands-on, how do you think banks should approach automation today with both responsibility and long-term vision in mind?
So to build automation, there are two things that you must keep in mind. The first is the vision of the organization. The vision of the organization should be very clear where they want to go. And the second thing is, when you are building this automation, the end users, they should be adapting it. It should be adding a value to the end user. Often we have seen that when we build some automation product or something is automated, it is not accepted by the end user, and the project actually fails. It may be a very good project. It may be adding, from the management point of view, it may be adding a value. But if it is not accepted, if it is not used by the end user, that project fails. So before doing any automation, the process needs to be studied very well. You need to spend time with the end user and understand how he initiates, because everything initiates with the end user. So how does he starts the activity? That needs to be understood. You need to note down very small points, what should be done so that he gets a value, his time is saved, and he is comfortable using it. Then you have to study the whole process end to end, because there will be various stages on completion of the process. Each stage you need to study. Each stage there will be a human factor. You need to consider that human factor, and you have to build those things minutely into your design, so that these in each stage the human is satisfied. There is a reduction in TAT, there is an efficiency built up. Secondly, it's a very changing world. So whatever technology you are using, you need to ensure that this technology is sustainable for a long time. Whenever we are doing automation, we are using a lot of APIs. We have to ensure that as per the bank's vision, there will be more and more different softwares will be adding up. So as we go ahead, the product that we are building gets smoothly integrated with the new product that is coming in. So we have to ensure that the technology is scalable. And if the technology is not scalable, you will have to rebuild it from scratch. So that is not required. So these are the few factors that you should take care while doing the automation.
Brilliantly put, Mr. Mukherjee. The way you connect strategy and ethics in automation really stands out.
Thank you. Thanks.
So after everything you have built and led, it's hard not to wonder what's next for you. I mean, do you see yourself channeling all this experience into boardroom leadership, perhaps mentoring at scale, or is there a particular vision ahead that still keeps you motivated every day?
I feel I am very young at heart, young at mind. I want to keep on doing something new, a never die habit or an attitude. Secondly, I have seen all these changes. I am lucky to see the country change. I am lucky to see the banking environment change. I have seen both the sides of the banking, manual banking as well as the computerized banking, seen the new digital thing that are happening up. All these changes till now, I have been implementing it, executing it, but I have not been the change. As a board of director, probably I am the change. I am the person who is initiating the change, who is visualizing these things should come and can be implemented for the betterment of the country, for the betterment of the process. So that is one thing that keeps me going.
That's such a thoughtful vision, Mr. Mukherjee. And knowing your track record, I have no doubt you will shape the boardroom the same way you have shaped systems.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, so moving ahead, Mr. Mukherjee, let's talk ESG. With your track record in governance and compliance, do you think ESG is evolving fast enough to match today's banking complexity?
So ESG is something that will give the organization a bigger resilience and acceptability, not only from the regulators, but also from the board trustees, stakeholders, and the financiers. So ESG is very much required. SEBI and RBI has built up ESG standards, but the bigger problem is that to implement the ESG, the standards are changing very frequently. So for the organization to keep it up becomes difficult. That's number one. Number two is the data quality. There is a very, very limited ESG data, and we do not have enough data for comparability. So when the organization requires the data to build up an ESG framework, all banks need to ensure that whenever they are bringing in risk framework, this risk framework should get integrated with the environmental and social risk framework also. Otherwise, the whole otherwise the whole system of implementing the ESG will be difficult. Secondly, the banks need to learn that they need to trigger implications of incident that can lead to negative environmental and social outcomes. This is very, very important. If this is not built, a long-term financial impact cannot be achieved. So these are my thoughts on the ESG.
That's such a powerful perspective, Mr. Mukherjee, especially coming from someone who has built systems where governance isn't just a checkbox, but a foundation.
Thank you. Thank you.
So before we wrap up, Mr. Mukherjee, I'm curious to know you recently became part of Directors Institute. And given the depth of your career, what drew you to it and how has that experience shaped or aligned with your journey so far?
So coming with the Directors Institute, it has been very, very helpful. It gave me a different perspective of things. There were a lot of things which I was not knowing. And this here I have come to know that there are many things that I should be knowing, I should be getting aligned to it. And I hope once I get aligned to it, once this knowledge I'm able to acquire, I will be able to contribute more to the society.
That's so wonderful to hear, Mr. Mukherjee. It's always meaningful when a platform like DIA becomes more than just a credential, but a part of your ongoing evolution.
Thank you. Thanks.
So let me tell you, Mr. Mukherjee, this has been such a thoughtful and inspiring conversation. The clarity with which you have shared your journey, the wins, the insights, and the foresight, I'm sure it has left a lasting impression on our audience.
Thank you. I also hope that.
So thank you so much for joining in, Mr. Mukherjee.
Thank you. Thanks. It was an honor for me.
Likewise, sir. And to our audience, thank you for tuning in to FaceTime with Leaders by Directors Institute. We will be back soon with more voices, more journeys, and more insights from those shaping the future of leadership. Until next time, take care and keep learning. Thank you so much. Have a nice time.